All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order Wednesday, November 13th. It is 6:32. Roll call, all present. Attest to publication.
I saw it posted.
Thank you, Joni. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tina, seconded by Joni to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Joni is going to read the district mission, vision, and values, and also the Board of Education collective commitment.
Bangor School District mission, vision, and values. Mission, Bangor Pride, a small school building big futures. Vision, an innovative small school creating excellence through personalized learning and relationships for all. Values, student-centered, safety, opportunities for all, small class sizes, fiscally sustainable, foster community, continuous improvement, professionalism. Our school district collective commitments. As a member of the Bangor School Board, I will be an active listener who is open-minded, respectful, and inquisitive. Together with one collective voice, we are committed to forward-thinking while strategically prioritizing for our students, staff, and community now and into the future.
Thank you, Joni. Public comment? Moving on to approval of the minutes, October 9th, 2023, regular board meeting.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Joni, seconded by Lisa to approve October 9th, regular meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll abstain.
Thank you. October 23rd, special board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Who was that down there?
Kelly.
Motion made by Tina, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
I'll abstain as well.
Thank you. Motion carried. Student report.
All
Ms.
right,
Casera.
I'm happy to report we have Sophie Casera with us again tonight.
All right. We've had a very busy month this previous month. So previously, here. Oh, okay. All right.
There you go.
Previously, volleyball got the 9th seed in playoffs and won their first playoff game in 4 sets against the 8th seed Blair Taylor. They ended their season a couple weeks ago when losing to Loyal, sadly. Football also got the first seed in playoffs and beat Iowa Grant during their first round, but sadly ended their season a couple weeks ago during the Level 2 game, meaning the cheerleaders also ended their season. Cross country competed at the conference meet, and the girls' team ended up winning conference. The boys' team took second. Anna Frank, JC Minchek, and Grayson Trusowski and Kian Buchholz all took first team. Bliss Knox, Grace Olson, and Evan Buchholz and Brandon Gady took second team, and Kier Cavadini and Brandon Gady took the sportsmanship. Anna Frank, Evan Buchholz, and Grayson Truskowski all qualified for state at the sectionals meet and ran at state on October 26th. Anna placed in the top 30, and that ended their season. Girls basketball started this week, and we'll have our first scrimmage on Friday, and our first official game will be next week. Hockey practices started and will also have their first game next week. Gymnastics and middle school and high school wrestling also started this week and will have their first meets to come. The high school's first quarter ended on November 1st, and now we are successfully starting the second quarter. At the academic assembly, 86 students earned a 3.5 or higher in one or both semesters last year. 40 got letters, and 46 got pins, meaning they already lettered. The high schoolers have started their second quarter, and we started a new thing. It's an honor study hall for all the students with a 3.5 GPA or higher in the first quarter, and so far it's been a great success, and lots of students are enjoying it. FCCLA attended the Fall Leadership Conference in Stevens Point, and they've also been working concessions during some games. One of my personal favorite things that's happened this past month is that the FCCLA members got together on Halloween, and instead of trick-or-treating, they did what they call the trick or donate, where they went door to door asking for canned goods or non-perishable donations to donate to local food pantries. FFA attended the National Convention in Indianapolis, where they attended different workshops on how to be positive leaders in the agriculture community and networked with members and industry leaders. FFA also had a successful fruit, meat, and cheese sale again, which they will hand out and deliver in December. They also had a kickball game during one of their chapter meetings, which they had a very fun time in. Harvest Fest with the middle school and high school band and choir was last Tuesday. Middle school girls basketball, boys basketball also started, and middle school girls volleyball ended, and football. The academic testing was yesterday, and the theme for this year was Our Changing Climate, so they had fun little shirts with the earth on it and all that fun stuff. Now looking forward into the next month, boys basketball will be starting next week. Student council will be having a hat and mitten drive during all the home basketball games from from Thanksgiving to Christmas. The official dates aren't set yet. Alexa Hike Camp and Miss Hooker will be traveling for FCCLA to the Capitol on Monday to meet with the state officers for every CTSO in Wisconsin. FCCLA is also volunteering at the Way for Food Pantry in the next coming month, and they'll be bringing some of their canned goods they got from their Trick or Donate there. FFA leaves for the Connect and IAM conference in Stevens Point on Friday. They will also be hosting their Big Buck contest again over gun hunting season, which they've done in the past few years. Tomorrow night, FFA is going to be participating in Rue Ball. If you don't know what that is, it's like four-court volleyball. They're going to Cashton for that to compete against other local FFA chapters for some fun rivalry. The High School Community Service Day is on the 26th, where they'll be going around the community, helping out, getting some community service in. Jazz bands performing at the Rotary Lights on December 4th. Okay, maybe not. The Fall Sports Banquet is this Sunday at 6:30, where there will be cross-country, cheerleading, football, and volleyball. Monday, elementary has a PTO meeting at 6:30. And lastly, the sixth graders are going to the Nutcracker Ballet on December 6th, which is something new, so that sounds fun. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. We know how busy your schedule is. We appreciate you coming. And I hope breathe now, because you talked a lot without breathing.
She's a bright spot in our meeting.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Board President's agenda. In December, we have a meeting conflict. Our regular meeting is scheduled for the second Wednesday, which is December 11th. The elementary holiday concert is on that evening. That creates a little conflict for us. So I am considering moving the meeting to Wednesday, December 18th for us. That's probably about the easiest thing to do.
So I do have this on it as an action item, and I had sent you guys an email kind of giving you a heads up on this. Not sure how the holiday concert got scheduled on a Wednesday night, but now that it's there, moving it is more difficult than moving us. And obviously, I've had some conversations about not scheduling on Wednesday nights again, and made that reminder. But we've had zero concerns about holding it on a Wednesday night, but many, many concerns about the potential of moving it. So if you guys are able and willing to do that and go December 18th, that'd be appreciated.
When does it start?
Is it 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock is K2, and then 7 till something would be 3-5. We're working on the logistics behind putting it at the activity center, which creates a little bit of a difference, right? But it's such an awesome facility that we're going to make it work. But there's some logistics there, and there will be some, who knows, it's hard because of the transition between the two shows. Our little ones do 2 songs, so it's fairly quick, but then everybody's standing around so I don't know how that's going to feel, but we'll figure it out.
So that location is going to be,
That is our intent right now. Yep. We know we can do it at the elementary school without an issue if something were to happen, but right now the whole music team is hoping and we're hoping to have it in that new venue or the remodeled venue.
We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Well, as far as our meeting, we're just back to what we had been for a long time, so I don't have a problem with the 18th if nobody else does.
I did put it in as an action item, so we need a motion. And
I was going to say, if there's no other discussion, I'll make a motion to move the regular board meeting for the month of December from December 11th to December 18th.
Second.
Motion made by Shelley, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you for that change. Next committee reports. Goals Committee, we met tonight at 5:30. Tina, if you'd share a brief recap.
Sure. We met tonight, as Julie said, about our goals. Our first meeting was at the beginning of the fall. We went over kind of what we wanted to set as our goals, what we wanted to revisit, where we wanted to focus, and so we just got a recap from both buildings. Elementary really focused on Act 20, the learning that's coming, getting staff ready for that, all of the work that staff's put into it, and everything they're doing, researching, getting ready. Sounds like a very big lift, and very much appreciated from everybody there working on that. So that sounds like it is going to be reoccurring, I feel like, on the schools meeting for several meetings to come. So that was great. And then we went up to the middle school, high school, and we talked a lot about learning targets, grading. We talked about the, like Sophie said tonight, the honors study hall, the incentives of giving kids the opportunity to have a lot of one-on-one time with their teachers that are needed, and kind of focusing individually on each student and their focus and where they need to go on their development. That's everything I kind of got out of the meeting quickly. I don't know if you have something else, Julie, to add?
Thank you, Tina. Building and Grounds have a meeting scheduled for November 20th at 5 p.m. At that meeting, they'll review the end of our capital project and continue to plan for the future. Financial documents.
I had a couple questions on the financials. The Stalker Sports floor, you'll see the invoice in there, which is a fairly large check that we wrote. There are receipts from insurance to cover that, so it's an in and an out type accounting there. Insurance to cover that, so it's an in and an out type accounting there.
I was going to say it was in the financial.
Can I try again? Yeah. So the other question, one of the other questions was about the utility bills were a little higher than normal this past month, and we're still looking into some of that, trying to figure out exactly what happened. I don't know if there was some of the meters that were off for a while and they were doing like guesstimate readings or the estimate readings, and then we've got some corrections on that. I don't know if I don't know if having doors open while we were running air conditioning for a lot of the summer finally caught up with us, or those types of things. So we are kind of investigating that a little further, but I don't have a solid answer on why that was higher. We don't anticipate that continuing, but I'll continue to look into that. A couple questions about some a little bit larger purchases at like Home Depot. We've purchased a number of items, especially a bunch of tool boxes for the tech ed classroom, tech ed labs, and those types of things. So just good questions. Some of the a little bit larger than normal type purchases that have come through there. So yeah, with no other questions, we'd look for approval of the financials.
I hope that the utility thing is not an ongoing, because that'll require a budget adjustment if it is.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials if there are no questions.
Second.
Motion made by Tina, seconded by Joni. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We welcome Gunnar tonight to talk about his Eagle Scout project. You can come on over. We've got some pictures as well with our agenda.
All right, so I'm Gunnar Nagy, and I am a part of the Scouting Troop 15 out of French Island, Lacrosse. And I recently did my Eagle Scout project, which was building a Gaga ball pit at the elementary school. And what an Eagle Scout is to sum it up simply and quickly, is an Eagle Scout is the highest rank you can earn in scouting. And a major part of earning Eagle Scout rank is you have to do a leadership project, which is your Eagle project, to help your community in some way. And I wanted to do a Gaga ball pit, and I heard that the elementary and the PTO wanted to build a Gaga ball pit, and I figured that that would be perfect because they already had the funding there, and I could build the pit, and it would be a good cooperation. And so, I don't know, that's just what happened.
Why don't you talk a little bit about going to those PTO meetings and the cooperation you had there?
Yeah, well, tell us what your biggest challenge was. You can be honest.
Nothing really comes to mind, except I know when we were building the pit, on the top layer of boards, the boards didn't really fit the way we had originally thought they would, so we had to do a little bit of adjusting, which was a little bit of a difficulty, but we overcame it semi-quickly, and it wasn't overly bad.
I see photos, but like, where did you draw from for your help? Were they all other Eagle or other Boy Scout families, or who assisted in the completion of the project?
Yes, most of the people you see in the pictures, actually, I believe all of the people you see in the pictures, are members of my troop or other scouts that I know that I asked for them to come and help me do this, and they generously came and they helped out.
I will admit that up until we had the tour, I did not have a clue what a Gaga pit was. So that shows my age, apparently.
I have a question actually for Mr. Johnson. Can you tell us how much the kids enjoy it or how much they use it?
It has been a huge hit. Every recess, that's the first thing that kids are running to. I think it's a really nice built product. The PTO certainly invested in a quality product, and Gunnar did a great job of putting it together. I think just the well thought out, the part of it that the PTO is willing to support, the way it's put together is really, really good. But yeah, Mr. Peterson, we started off the school year. He used the pit to teach the first couple of weeks so that all the kids were familiar with how to play. And then they actually going to put a rule plate right on the outside of it, so that helps. But now, yeah, every recess, they play 15 kids at a time. The kids have been great. Honestly, I kind of thought it was going to be a nightmare because Foursquare is challenging at times. So I thought Gaga Ball was going to be another thing to deal with. But no, this has been really good. The kids love it. What I like about it is you watch these different kids win all the time. And now the way they're figuring out strategy and the way they're going about it. It's not always the most athletic, the tallest, the shortest. It's the strongest. It's not always that. It's just it changes all the time, and some of it's luck of the draw, and some of it's strategy. It's pretty fun. We did have right at the beginning of the year, some of the middle high school staff brought their kids over to play in the pit. Several times, and that worked out awesome. But yeah, it's a really nice. It's a nice addition. Actually, all of the additions we made to the play area this year get used every recess.
And I will say, Gunnar, now I've had high schoolers request another one over here. Yes.
So, Gunnar, I didn't mean to interrupt Dr. Brockup, but tell us about the PTO meetings. How was that process for you?
I don't really know what to say. I went to their meetings. I just kind of listened in. I talked about my plan and what I wanted to do, and they talked about what their plan was and what they wanted to do, and we just, I don't know, just kind of figured it out.
You did help do some of the research on what to buy.
Yes.
and helped them create their budget, which is, I think, an important part of the Eagle Scout process, is that research, the part that you had to do, which was nice for the PTO not to have to do as well.
Any other questions?
I just have one comment. I know you could have picked anywhere, but you picked school, and your project affects so many people every day and kids. So I think it's really cool. And thank you very much for picking the school.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Eagle Scout. Being an Eagle Scout is a big honor. Tell people that for the rest of your life. Include it on every application. Mention it in every interview, because it does make a difference.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Brockup, you're up. Facility project update.
Yeah. Well, we've hit a couple of milestones. I mean, we are two punch list items on the elementary and middle school. We have the teams working really hard to figure out some solutions for us, and they're targeting, continue to target some of those days for a few of the projects that need to be done as far as the punch lists on the days that we're off school and those types of things. So good progress being made on those. Much fewer people in and out of our buildings on a daily basis right now, which is really nice. Activity center, we did get the activity center and pass the fire inspection and all those types of things so that we could hold the election in that facility. I think people did appreciate being able to see it, and we got lots of really great positives, from that little peek into it in its incomplete state. The floor is done, and in that drying time period that should be like 14 days, but won't be that long, because the 19th we will start using it for practices and those types of things, knowing full well that our intention will be to come back in the summer, shut it down for a couple of weeks, have them do a one more final screening, and put a finish coat on it that will let dry the full time that we would like to have it dry, so we really know that we have a great surface to play on. And that's been part of our process, just knowing the time that we have. So we're going to be set to go for the 19th for practice over there, and that will be access to the lobby, the bathrooms, and the gym floor. There's still work. They are in town now and working on the stage, and starting to put all of the curtains and rigging and light and all those types of things in there. They've got a little bit of work left to do in there. They should be finishing up very shortly with any of the HVAC type work and stuff there. So there's little pieces left, and they're kind of working their way towards the new addition and working their way out that way. So I have pushed, and I'm continuing to push for a solid date of when it is ours and when they go away and when we get to use our full space, and we're getting closer to that date. But the important thing is, starting the 19th, we'll be able to use it for those athletics practices as the gym space becomes more and more important for our use that way. There is some pictures on there on the update, and some of the updates just from the Nexus report on things that they're working on right now. Also in the facility projects, this is part of the B&G committee meeting on the 20th. I have had a couple of meetings with Nexus, including some of the top owners of Nexus, and walked the facilities, talked through some of how things are coming together. They are working hard to make sure that they're walking out of here with us in a good place. We're also working on pulling the final financials together, and I should be able to give the B&G a little update on that, and then we can talk more about that with the whole board next time. So those kind of wrap up pieces are on their way, and you'll see those over the course of the next couple months and know where we ended up with things. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with facility projects. I got to admit, I am, as much as I have enjoyed the construction, I am ready to be out of the construction business for a while. But the final products are amazing, and I think we're going to really enjoy using these spaces for a lot of years to come.
I have a question. You mentioned next summer that we would have to refinish the floor again or do another coat. Is going on it next week too soon then, or is it going to damage something? Are we gonna get
We need to be
footprints?
on it next week.
Oh.
And we're not going to hurt it.
Okay.
We're not going to hurt the floor. We're not. It just, we'll go back and we'll touch it up and we'll make it exactly what we want it over the summer. And that's all built in. They know the timeline. They had committed to a timeline too. Everybody had committed to a timeline. So it's getting us the use of it that we need right now, and we'll just make sure it's exactly the way we want it. By next summer.
So have they been pretty cooperative as far as some of the, I wouldn't even call them punch lists, but fix it?
Yeah.
Like say the flooring and some of those
we are making
issues?
good gains and on those things, and that's why I've had a couple of those conversations with Nexus directly, and Nexus is advocating on our behalf for some of those things as well. So again, I don't have everything in front of me right now on that. I'll have a whole lot more in front of me for the 20th, and then I'll bring that to the whole board as well. But yes, they are making every effort to make sure that when they walk out of here, we are completely happy with our product. So.
Okay.
Any other questions for Dr. Brackup? Okay, operations referendum, next steps.
Yeah, the one none of us really want to talk about, but obviously, we were 50 votes short on the referendum results a little over a week ago. And we absolutely need to move forward, and we knew that we would do that. If this didn't work, knew we'd come back in April. So kind of some of the realities of needing to come back in April we'll kind of talk about tonight. So obviously I've got on my notes here that we need to have a chance to talk as a board if there's things that you're hearing, things that you're thinking in the community, hearing from community members. We'll talk about those. I've already started, but it's my intention to get to all the village and township meetings to seek feedback in November and December before we would have to come back and bring forth a new question for approval for April and bring that feedback back to you guys. Seeking feedback from the community if there are folks that want to talk about it. I'm talking to people. I've had people unsolicited now, which is great, coming up and say, hey, I can't believe it. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I think, and all of those things are incredibly important. I think, conversations I've had with many of you, I do have a new question being drafted by Quarles and Brady that is more similar to what we've done in the past. So a 3-year non-recurring referendum at the $900,000, just so it's prepared for us to review and talk about. So I've been in contact with them already. Unfortunately, the admin team and I have already begun conversations. Angie and I have been doing a little bit more prepping, and next week for sure we'll get into a little bit more of those stages of budget development in the event that the April referendum is not successful. Some of you may have caught some of the TV interviews. I mean, you're talking, 8 to 10 positions for $900,000. That doesn't mean it all has to be positions, but you probably got to have at least 8, and then, cutting some other programs and opportunities that we provide right now. Looking at some of those other things, we got to look at the reality of how we plan for that. Obviously, we would know the results April 1st. April 15th is the final non-renewal deadline, if we had to cut back on staff. So we have a little bit of window there. As we get closer, we will have some strategy conversations here, and I'll keep you. do you tap people on the shoulder before the referendum and say, hey, just so you know, if it doesn't go, you're gone? Or do we keep it general? I don't want an exodus of employees that are going out and applying for jobs, but in the same breath, I think we owe them some level of, if their livelihood for their family is on the line, give them the opportunity to be out and applying when there are more jobs available for them. So those are tough conversations I'm not looking forward to, but conversations that we're kind of preparing to have, and you got to go from there. Retirements will play into a factor, and obviously those are easier. If we have a retirement, we know we're kind of okay there. That would be one of the places we use through attrition or lose through attrition. I've had a conversation with the BEA, and I've let them know that I know this may sound heartless, but I'm going to send out a notification to staff that if you're considering retirement, please let me know earlier than later. I would hate to see an employee get a layoff notice and then have a late summer, retirement or a late in the year retirement, and we try to go back to one of those employees that we had to lay off and they've already taken a job somewhere else. So those are going to be important for us, and we're going to have a few of those that happen, along the way. So all conversations that are not fun, but starting to be had as we think about what happens if the changes that we decide to make aren't accepted by the community. And I think the other part, that's going through my mind is, just beginning and to plan for a more comprehensive information agenda. We joked a little bit. I was at the village of Rockland last night, and I said, I don't know that any of you were looking forward to getting more mailers in the mail with this last election, and they all, kind of laughed with me. But in April, there should be fewer, probably worth getting those out so that every one of our community members fully understands it. We can Monday morning quarterback 1,000 times what happened November 5th. My number one priority is to make sure that we are fully prepared, and because we really, in more ways than one, can't afford to have things go that way again in April. It's going to be a lot of work, and the bottom line is our kids are worth that, and the opportunities that our families depend on in this district, we just need to make sure we highlight that a little bit better and go from there. So that's kind of what I wanted to share tonight. Resolution date for the April 1st operational referendum question must be adopted by 1/21/25. Our regular meeting right now is scheduled January 8th. We can have a special meeting to approve that if we decide to. I think we could probably be ready by the 8th. We could move our January meeting. We just moved our December. We could move it back a week. The one thing that might give me the ability to do is there are meetings on the Wednesday nights of our meetings. So that would give me that ability to get 2 more townships on that Wednesday night that would be the 8th, come back the following week, and make sure I've been to those meetings as well. So that's not on our agenda for tonight, but that's something we could put on the agenda for next month. If it would make a lot of sense if people are okay with that, moving that December or that January meeting back 1 week, just to give me the ability to get to 1 more or 2 more townships in one night, if needed. So. I guess with that, board discussion. This is ours, not mine. I take a lot of responsibility for this, but obviously all of us have a chance to weigh in. So if there's anything you guys want to weigh in here tonight, otherwise, where my office is. We can talk anytime.
I'm going to start with a silly question. What are the undervotes?
Undervotes are somebody that left that question blank because maybe they didn't understand what it was asking, or they didn't know it was going to be there, and instead of voting wrong, they just didn't vote.
So there was 50 votes left on the table.
Yep.
More than 50 votes left on the table.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Secondly, I've only been to a handful of township meetings in my township, and I don't know, populace is pretty light at those meetings. I mean, what have you seen in the past? I mean, if you're only going to talk to 8, 9 people, I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
They
have been very sparsely attended at the meetings that I have attended in the past, and last night was similar. Regardless, that is energy that I believe we're going to put in, and I got that feedback last night. From the village of Rockland. They're like, you did carry Rockland, you carried Bangor. I think the farm community is at least hearing what they have to say. So if their concern was the recurring, then we're going to respond to that. We've talked about this with the capital referendum. There are people, it wouldn't matter how we serve this up, they're a no.
Oh.
And right, I mean, and that's what it is. But the more that we can educate and explain why we were doing what we were doing and why we need to continue to ask for this support to anybody who will listen, I think is important.
Well, I guess we have to assume or hope that if there's only 10 people at the meeting, maybe those 10 people tell 3 people. I don't know.
So I think that's what it is, Joni. Because I went to a couple before with Dave Lane when we went, and to both, to Burns and to Rockland. And I think the big thing is they're used to it, they're expecting it, they want it. It is a show of respect. And then I think exactly what you said, to educate some, and then that spreads. And I think that's the helpful part of it.
Yeah, and I agree with you both. I think that the meetings, those town meetings, have very poor attendance, but there's a lot of meetings after the meetings out in the community. Oh, well, Bangor schools came, and so I think it kind of spreads. So I think it's important that we do attend. And I agree exactly with what Tina and Joni said as well.
I think Jean had the list of those dates on my desk at about 7:30 on Wednesday morning. She said, we got to get there. And I said, I know. So I appreciate that for Jean. Thank you.
Do we have any assistance with marketing, or do you handle that, or who made the posters and the postcards?
I did the posters this round. We had talked about, there are options for us to hire that with marketing, but, Evans printed the boards for us. They would do the postcards and that type of stuff. That would be one of our first places that we would go. But as far as design, yes, I do have some, resources that we can use for that as well.
Well, and a lot of people, a lot of community now with basketball starting will be in this area from now until March, hopefully. So good opportunity to have things around.
I thought maybe Kelly was volunteering as a marketing person.
I know some people.
Well, and you should have some historical information that we've sent before. I mean...
Yeah.
Would you say, Tina?
Sorry, there should be historical things that we've sent before. Right. That's going to break down where the money's going, what it's used for. And I think that part of it was also, like you said, it's needed. I think doing that mail out to the people that aren't here, that aren't in the district all the time, but are still very much part of the community.
Absolutely.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? Okay, moving on. School safety plan review.
Yeah, I'm going to start my list of items over the next couple months that I've been procrastinating on because of other construction responsibilities as assigned. But we've had an opportunity this fall. We have a new police chief in town. Kind of take a look at the school safety plan and update that for the 24-25 school year. We'll get that submitted to the state then after approval here. Really, the biggest changes in this, we've done work on this over the past few years. The biggest changes are the updated building maps for each of the buildings. With that, we had Matt Elson printing us the stickers for the elementary windows and making us new signs for above all the doors so that we have all of them labeled correctly. So those things all go hand in hand. That document, it's funny, once we got it, it's like, yeah, I need one of those because we all are constantly currently grabbing a building map. So getting those up to date helped with a lot of things. And then adding in the new contact information for Police Chief Carpenter. I think, I have actually shared like every file, school safety related, that we have created, that we've used over the past few years with Chief Carpenter. And he has a strong background in school safety as well. So he's taking some time to go through those. And I think those will be important conversations once he kind of gets his feet under him and understands the position. He'll be able to help with that. And we can always update update this along the way. But the approval tonight is to make sure we are getting it submitted to the state as we need to every year. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 school safety plan as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Lisa, seconded by Shelley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 24-25 employee handbook.
Yeah, so our handbook, we do contract with WASBA, the Wisconsin Association of School Boards, for the handbook. That was a decision you guys made shortly after Act 10, quite a few years ago. With that contract with them, they go through and they make sure that the legal requirements are taken care of. The advantage of this is if I have a staff issue and I have a question on how to handle something, I call Bob Butler, who wrote this, and he's like, well, in section such and such, here it is. So that's the real advantage of this. We always have the ability to make some small tweaks, and then WASBA keeps the tweaks that we have in place. We went through, updated with our specific information, and made sure that was all up to date. And again, I met with the BEA a little bit this past week, some of the officers from the BEA, and the unfortunate reality, going back to that operationals referendum, is we spent some time discussing the layoff language and what the criteria was for layoff. And one of the things that we kind of adjusted a little bit is we clearly, we all agreed, so we clearly spelled it out by moving, kind of moving over a category, the seniority. And that means, as you look at page 69, if you want to take a note and read through it later, if you look on page 69, as they look at the seniority, or you look at the order of why we would reduce staff, or what we would choose, we're going to choose the best people. And if it comes down to it, the tiebreaker would be seniority and not vice versa. And I think having conversations with the board for 4 years here, and truly having conversation with BA leadership, there was agreement that if we have to go through this, we want to be making sure that we're holding on to the best people that we have, not necessarily the ones that signed their contract first. It is a factor, but it is not the deciding factor. So I think that's an important distinction that we made as we had those conversations. Other changes are very minimal to what our standard language and operating procedures have been in there. And like I said, 99.9% of this comes from WASBA, and it's as is the way that they recommend it for us.
It's a lot of information to digest in 3 days. I just want to say.
It in 3 years.
Well, yeah.
I mean, and it's absolutely crazy. It is huge.
I had that question about can you just refresh my memory on their schedules? And it's not a big important part of this policy, but it just refreshed my memory. Like, where do those Schedule C amounts come from? How do we determine that?
So that you see that every year when we're looking at compensation.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, we actually changed some of those percentages.
Okay.
But if you look at Schedule C at the top of it, it's all based, the percentages are there, but the compensation on the far right is based off your base salary. So when the base salary changes, that changed. So last year, we didn't change anything on Schedule C, but because the base salary went up, every amount on there went up. 2 years ago, we changed some of the categories. We added some additional positions for like the musical. We took out a couple of positions that hadn't been used in many years. We added the coaches in for Odyssey of the Mind. So there were pieces that we had those discussions. They usually come during the salary setting conversations. And now it's just it's a appendix item in this document. So none of that has changed from what we approved last year.
So obviously, a lot of it would depend on whether or not it's a year-round position or if it's a seasonal position. I mean, like, that's all factored into that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And that's one of those documents is how do I want to say? It's not a huge part of our budget, the Schedule C, what we pay for our coaches and that type of stuff. But it is honestly one of the most compared documents across like schools and districts. Superintendents are always, can you send me your your athletic pay schedule? And there's constantly that comparison back and forth on that, because it's where the teachers are putting in and our staffers putting in the extra time and effort. And I would say that was why some of those adjustments were made 2 years ago, not necessarily trying to keep up, but just trying to create some equity within that area. So if there are no other questions, I'd look for approval of the 24-25 handbook as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 handbook as presented.
Second.
Who was it, Kelly? Motion made by Shelley, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. District calendar for 2025-2026.
Yeah, similarly, this is something we've looked at a number of different options, but truthfully, are just bringing forward a calendar similar to what we have done in the past. There's no significant changes to even what we have in place this year for a calendar. The first draft that I had put out there before I met with the BEA, this year we added, I believe it's in February, a day that is just a day off in February for our staff. So it's not just a day off for kids, it's a day off for all. And I did not have that in the original draft this year that I sent out initially. After meeting with the BEA yesterday, they're like, we really, really want that if it's possible. So it added one day to the end of the school year. So they have a day off February 6th. It adds the day to the end of the school year. What the high school, middle school staff especially really liked was that the finals would be Monday and Tuesday, and then the last half day of school would be the 3rd of June, versus the way that it would have been a final on Friday, or a set of finals on Friday, a set of finals on Monday, and then the half day on Wednesday. So they felt that was a win as well. So I said, I'm going to be here anyway. Our families will be here. 3 days in a week makes more sense than a 2-day week, but so it made sense all the way around. So that's the only change from the original draft that went out. That's basically, again, just renewing our calendars from the past years.
Is this an action item already?
It is. If you want a month to think about it, we can happily table it, but it's a little bit later than it usually comes. So I thought if we were there, we'd just approve it.
Remind me, how do snow days work again? Do you add at the end then?
Yeah, so our snow days, we have snow days built in to every calendar. Our requirements by the state are minutes, they're not days. So as long as we are meeting the minute requirements and we have plenty of minutes built in, the middle school, high school is where it becomes the tightest. And at that point in time, we'll go from there. I think, in my mind, we have the ability to have those conversations as we go. The first two are probably forgiven. The third one we're probably making up. Maybe we forgive the fourth one. We have those conversations as we go, and we place it where we feel like it should be, to add on at the end of the year or whatever it may be.
In February, you have the 13th and the 27th blocked, but there's nothing there, so I'm assuming that's just...
So if you look in February, I apologize, those are ends of midterms and
So you're gonna add
trimesters,
those, like,
and I just
March?
don't have them
Okay.
off to the side. I apologize for that. Gene will help fix that, make sure all my counts are right.
My only question would have been who you talked to about it and if everybody had input when it comes to all of your dates and your times and your tournaments and your testing and all of that stuff. But as long as you guys have covered all that, I don't have any objection.
I'll move to approve the 25-26 calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Joni, seconded by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Purchase of a person lift.
Yeah, however you call this thing, there are lift specs in the documents with a picture of it. We have had one of these. The district has always had one. I don't think I've ever been in a school district that does not have one, because it is a kind of a getting people way up in the sky type thing. It is an item that is inspected every single year. Our last one lasted over 20 years, and it finally failed inspection at the end of last school year. We kind of got by, and we were researching different options, but we kind of got by with the contractors here all summer to use their lifts. And the contractors are going away, which I'm not complaining about, but we need them back. We need we need another access point in this room. We have the access point. There's a wire there for it. We don't have a way to get up there to put it in. So we'll have P&T come back over here on Friday and take care of that for us. But we do need the ability to do this. We need, change light bulbs to, just dust things off that are up high, hang banners, all of those types of things. So it is a need for the district, an ongoing need that's not going to go away. I did look at some leasing options, and I think in the long run, owning it makes sense for us. It's not a massive investment, but it is probably a 20-year investment that we're making here. Bernie's Equipment is actually the company who has serviced our old one for the entire time Mike Stang has been here. Same exact product as United Rentals, a little bit better price you see there. Farrell Company was the other company we looked at for a very comparable but different lift. Was more money. They did not have the one that we were looking for. So one advantage of this one is they are now, there's batteries in them, so you plug them in when they're sitting, and then when you go out and you're moving around, you're not stringing cords all over. You can just run it off the batteries when you're using it. So looking for approval to purchase the Genie lift from Bernie's Equipment.
And will it take 15 weeks, or do they have them in stock?
It will take at least that long, which is part of why I didn't want to wait much longer to get it ordered.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have to replace the batteries, like battery expectancy on life?
Yeah, I would guess just like any batteries, they probably have a 5 to 7 year life.
What's the cost?
They're more of like a boat battery, or they're not a real fancy. They're a deep cycle type battery.
All right.
So what the exact cost is, I don't have in front of me, but they're not like a real specialty $5,000 for batteries type situation.
This would be used between both schools.
All three
All three
schools.
buildings.
Yep. It'll be used a lot at the activity center, setting up stages and all of those types of things as well.
If there are no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a bucket personal lift from Bernie's Equipment at the price of $11,315.
Second.
Joni.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Joni. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. David, next, staff auto enrollment and retirement account.
Yeah, I should be able to talk through this quickly, and then I'll let somebody else talk for a change. That'll be good. The auto enrollment for retirement is we use WEA Trust if a person would like to invest in a 403B, which is a retirement account. What we see with WEA Trust is not many of our employees are taking advantage of that. One of the things the WEA Trust does is an automatic enrollment. So the district goes through, puts in all the information for the employees, and automatically enrolls them, starting to put 1% of their salary into their own retirement account. The employees then do not have to go through all of the work to figure out how to get this started, and it just kind of starts automatically. If they don't want it, they sign one piece of paper, they opt out, and it never starts. And so they're not required to do it. If they already have one, which many of our employees do have one, this wouldn't apply. But what we're looking to do is we're looking to put this in place January 1st. Basically, any employee would get an upload to WEA Trust. At that point in time, if they wanted to opt out, they can opt out. If they wanted to increase the amount from higher than 1% of their salary to start putting away for their retirement, they could do that. They can change all kinds of things once they have the account. But we see especially a lot of teachers get busy and they don't take the time to do this. This is not a cost to the district because it is their money. It is a service to our staff to get them to think about their future. So it's again, no cost. It's some extra work for Angie to do the initial upload. We would then take any new employee, automatically enroll them, or be prepared to automatically enroll them unless they're opting out of it as well. So just kind of helping nudge them along the path to planning for their own retirement is the goal here. We did talk to the teachers. I did talk to the teachers about this, and I said, look, I don't want to do this if people are going to feel like we're forcing you to do something you don't want to do. And they're like, no, as long as you give us the ability to opt out if we want to, that's 100% fine. It makes sense. It make my job easier. I don't have to think about it. So we got a good response from that. So therefore, we are going to move forward with that for January 1st. So just kind of an informational thing, no cost to the district. But I wanted to let you know that that's what we were doing. Any questions or anything on that?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, starting with administrative reports, Mr. Chaplin.
Thanks, Julie. Just some informational things for me. The end of November 29th, the IDEA anniversary again. Special ed hasn't been around forever. It'd be the 49th year of establishing that kids with disabilities do have rights to be educated at school. And so, again, anniversary for that. But it hasn't been, the update for the major parts of the law hasn't been re-updated or hasn't been reauthorized in 20 years. So we're operating off of interpretations of a law that's 20 years old. And obviously things have changed in 20 years for special ed. So that is in need of reauthorization with the new administration. I'm not sure how that will be interpreted going forward, but so that is the anniversary of IDEA. The other thing is this week is School Psychology Awareness Week. So again, not appreciation, just awareness.
We're aware of you. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Mr. Chaplin. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Julie. Just a couple short things. Parent-teacher conferences had another great turnout. Parents loved the building. And just being in there, seeing it kind of build, kind of a final in a sense, kind of. But anyway, we had 92% of our families show up, which is about in that average range of what we typically do. We typically see quite a few of our families, so that's good. And then report cards. So we've been working over the last year or so on standards-based reporting, and got that in place with at the elementary school for literacy. So there's reading, writing, and foundational work that's going to be reported as a standards-based look to it. Certainly shares more detail than what we have had in the past in a lot of ways. And I did share this with our PTO as a rough draft, and they gave me some feedback and really did like what they were seeing. Appreciated that. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that report cards going out for the first trimester at the elementary school will look a little different, and you might get a question. I highly doubt it, but you might. Where they just said, oh, it looks different. I wonder what's going on. So I wanted you guys to be aware that we've been working on this. We will add the mathematics side of it this spring to be ready in the fall. So next fall, we'll have literacy and numeracy as standards-based reporting in the fall. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Mellenberg.
Thank you, Julie. First of all, for our building, for parent-teacher conferences, we had 475 individual conferences. And when I went back historically, we are within 20 almost every fall of the same number, 20 to 25. So right in the same ballpark. I always enjoy having parents come in and having the conferences. I think it's important. I like the contact and the face-to-face, and with our staff as well. Tools for Schools grant, our tech ed department, we put in for that, and Adam has received a grant through that. We'll find out next Tuesday at Cedar Creek what that will be. And then I found out today, Miss Morgan Beckman put in for one as well through the science department. She told me that she'll be receiving one, and I believe Channel 19 will be out here next Tuesday to interview her for that as well. So that's pretty cool. I don't have more details on that. She told me this morning, and so two of them, which is pretty exciting. I think Adam had put in for a radio for the shop, because I know that's one, or a battery operated one, that they always listen to music while they're out there working. So I think that was one of the things, because he said he had enough drills and other things that some of the things that they were giving away, they gave select items. So they don't tell you, but we'll Adam and I will both go out there next Tuesday, and I think Morgan as well. So we'll see from there. So that's pretty neat. I want to thank Jessica for the roses, the flowers. That was really cool. The staff loved it. And personally, I was in a little hot water with my wife when I left the house that morning, and I brought one home, and it saved my butt. So thank you. Or patch things up.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I don't know that all the board members
Tell us
understood.
more about the roses.
Or maybe Jessica could explain the
Jessica, share with us.
Well, the purpose. It was awesome.
Unity Day happened to fall on something that happens in the floral world, and it's called Petal It Forward. So I was able to pick a location to distribute flowers, and the idea behind it was you take one and you give one, because there's power behind spreading joy. So I chose the school district to drop them off to. Yeah.
And it served its purpose with our staff.
Yeah,
100%.
It came at a really good time.
Yeah.
That is wonderful, Jessica. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a perfect place.
Yeah, I thought so.
Lots of smiles
Thank
from our staff that day. So thank you so much.
Good, thank
And
you.
I have some vases for you in my office, but I think some were from graduation or prom, as a matter of fact, as well. Thank you. Veterans Day, we held that here on Monday. So we have that ceremony. That's always, obviously being a veteran, it's important to me. But I like that the school can be involved with that. This year they did a little bit different. They haven't done this in quite a few years, where instead of bringing in a guest speaker, which is always kind of a last minute thing from Fort McCoy, and you don't know who you're going to get. Some years they're really good, and some years the students are less interested. So this year, VFW and American Legion decided to have all the veterans in attendance write down name, branch that they served in, how long, and what their rank was. So, and then the veterans stood up when they were read, and everybody stayed standing until they were all read, and the students and everybody clapped. I thought it was great because I wanted our kids to see that it's everyday people in our community that have served in our military, served the country, because a lot of veterans, well, none that I know of really seek any attention. So you wouldn't know what, I tell the kids, you're in the grocery store with them or this or that. It doesn't take a special person to do it, but I think people are special that do it. That's my own opinion. But it went over well. The band and choir were awesome. And having the elementary kids sing with our high school choir, high school, middle school choir is always really neat when they sing God Bless the USA. I had to march to that song in boot camp for 10 hours one day, so I like their version. But no, it was a great thing and put together, and I appreciate the Legion commander, Buck Reynolds, was the MC for that, so, and everything that they do. Lastly, I have an update on our attendance for first quarter, something we've been working really hard on since COVID, and I know Mike has as well. So I have some updated numbers last year to this year. We're still not where I would like to be at, and I know those things affect our school report card as well, but we've been sending out additional letters starting last fourth quarter with them to kind of remind people of state law and things like that. But so for the first quarter in the high school last year, kids that missed 5 to 9 days was a little bit lower. We had 128 last year, 147 this year. But our 10 plus days missed, last year we had 69, and this year we're down to 23. So more of our larger absenteeism, we're bringing those numbers down. We're still working on all of them, obviously, but that was a positive sign to see on that one. For 5 to 9 days in the middle school, last year we had 73. This year we're down to 46. So that's good. And 10 plus, we had 10 last year, we have 11 this year, so it's kind of a wash there on that one. So something we're still targeting, we're still pushing. Obviously, it's important that students are here so they can learn and all of those things. Different strategies that we're using besides the attendance letters. I did send out a couple emails at the beginning of the year. I talked to students a lot about their attendance. Parents call me. We have a lot more now over the years here that go on vacations a lot. Vacations are great. I'm not knocking that, but it does count on our attendance numbers, so it's I think it's important family time, but I want the board to know that the state gets that from us. So we have some kids doing some really good things, being gone with their families and stuff, but you'll see when we talk about our state report card next month, some of the things that kind of, even though they're good things, it does come back to not haunt us, but we get graded on that. But anyway, so we're trending up, which I'm happy to report that, and I'll bring it each quarter to you as well. Hopefully you can stay there. And then, David, there was one more thing about a donation. That was from First Presbyterian Church, correct? I'd like to thank them for the donation that they gave to our middle high school. And that money goes into our fund for needy families as well. So really appreciate their donation. And there was one to elementary school. So
Thank you for remembering that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mellenberg. Dr. Brackup?
Yeah, I just want to, I said the list of things that didn't happen because of construction over my summer. Part of that was our pupil non-discrimination report. So something fairly new this year that we needed to, or this past year, that we needed to look back at 5 years of data and 5 years of information and evaluate for ourselves how we are doing in the area of non-discrimination. We have that data basically pulled at this point in time. over the next couple weeks, we will finish up the kind of the review of what we learned from that data. And part of this is that we need to actually present that data or have it available and present to community who is interested in learning about that. And we have to document that we offered that opportunity for community and offered the opportunity for the board to kind of see this. So the areas that we look at is we look at all of our school board policies and administrative procedures. We've pulled all those that that talk about discrimination and those types of things, enrollment trends over time, and making sure that those are all trending in the right direction, curriculum, practices, those types of things. We pull a bunch of data on that, disciplinary actions, involvement in extracurricular, co-curricular type activities, who gets the scholarships each year, and is there non-discrimination, is there equality, equity in who is getting those and how that's being distributed, and basically the ongoing efforts of the district as a whole to ensure that all students are getting opportunities for learning here. With that, each of those sections will be laid out, and in early December, I intend to put out an email to families that they can come in and see a session, and basically we would review this document of here's the data that we looked at, and this is the takeaways that we learned from that, and kind of just have that conversation with folks on things that we can do better. In many ways, I see this as an autopsy, because the last 5 years are gone. There's not a lot you can do. The most important part as we look at these sections is what have we learned from that and what can we do better. So I think those sections of that will be important. I'll bring this back at our December meeting then, and we'll look to get this approved and we will take the final report that I've shared with the community, that I've shared with you, and it will go on our website, and then we sign an attestation that we did all of those steps. We don't send any of the document we created to the state. We just tell the state, yes, we did everything that you asked us to do. We reviewed all of this, so we will get that sent off by the end of the year. So kind of a newer process. It's something, again, it's a 5-year review. It's supposed to happen every 5 years now. Moving forward, but one of those things that we're working on getting done. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the work that we're doing behind the scenes on that and our timeline. And if you see an email or something come out that says I'm offering this session, we'll put it out to parents, and anybody wants to come and sit and look through that packet with me and kind of review what we've learned from the last 5 years is welcome to come and join us and have those conversations. So. No other questions? That's, or if there are no questions, I'm good.
Thank you. Removal of items from the consent agenda. Consent agenda tonight includes current openings, overnight field trip for the FFA. There's a document in your packet as well, and a maternity leave request. Nothing. If there is nothing to remove, I ask for a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Shelley, seconded by Joni to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I ask for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Joni, seconded by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.